Please go ahead and introduce
Uh,
yourself.
yeah, yeah. So I'm Sabanita and I'm from Bangalore. I'm currently working in Finastra as a product manager, and
Mhm.
I'm working on payments for European payments especially,
Mhm.
and I'm working for this bags and SEPA things. And now I'm also planning to expand my career to Swift. So in order to get a elaborate learning about the Swift, I have joined this course.
All right. Perfect. Great.
Yeah,
Thank you for the introduction, Subhanita.
yeah.
So
Thank
last
you.
week, actually, we just went through, how this training is going to be, right? And what are the syllabus which we are covering it, which you would have already received via in a PDF file, which we have sent it as well, right? And we just kick started. And today, from today onwards, we are going to start the actual training course. So let's get started.
Okay. Yeah. And if you don't mind, can I get your
Yeah,
uh,
Shubhanita, my name is
date of
Kumar.
yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
my name is Kumar. I have a 12 years of experience into IT industry as a business consultant, and
okay.
I have been working into the payments domain itself all throughout my career. Got an opportunity to work with multiple banks like Standard Chartered Bank, Morgan Stanley Bank, one of the Middle East central banks as well, which is called as SAMA, Central Bank of Saudi Arabia. And the kind of projects which I have been working into more related to your Swift payments itself. I've been training for almost 5+ years and 4 years associated with the payment group. This is about me.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Fine, then let's get started. Other people will keep on joining in between. So I'll start with this very basics itself initially. As I said, objective is to ensure that the other people who are there who do not have any idea about a payments domain will also be in line, right? So just hold for some time, 1 or 2 class, and because I'll be trying to clear all the basic uh, related to this payments domain, making your base strong on the payment side, and then gradually we'll move ahead to the Swift payments and RC2022. So for that, let's start with some basics. In that, we'll start with the payment definition itself. So there is a definition of a payment at times for the intermediate level or the beginner level. Interviewer might ask you these questions: What do you mean by payment, or define payment for me? The payment is nothing but a transfer of money or goods and services in exchange for product or service. This payment used to be there way back when there wasn't any means of any sort of financial obligations like cards, payments, securities, bonds, etc. And also the fact the way now we used to make payment or the tools which we use to make a payment now is altogether different, and it has varieties of options which we get it. For example, credit cards, debit cards, online payments via web, online payments via mobile. You have this physical way of currency for sure. Nowadays, this cryptocurrency is there, and many other way to make a payment as well. Check, demand apps, etc., etc. The tools by which you can make a payment. But earlier it wasn't the case, especially way back before this currency was introduced. People still used to make a payment. If you see it towards the left hand side of the picture, this is a barter system wherein the payment is being done um, by exchanging banana for the books. Likewise, so they used to exchange some materials to buy some another material. So that itself is a definition of payments. The salary which you do receive every month end, which gets credited to your account for the services which you have provided, is actually the payment. Payment for the exchange of the services which you have provided to your company. That's a payment by your company to you for the exchange of the services. Let's know about this financial institution and bank. Who are they exactly? So they are nothing but a company or an organization which can be a private based company or a government based company. You would have seen plenty of the banks in and around India, which are private as well, like SDFC, Axis, ICICI, etc., and then government banks as well. Uh, all the Grameen banks falls under the central banks, and they are basically government banks as well. So what do they do basically? They do a lot of facilities provide. I mean, they do provide a lot of facilities to its customer, and varieties of features are available to the customer. Services as well, like loans, deposits, investments, currency exchange, etc. And then one of them is the payments, which they facilitate to its customer. It also provides various tools for its customer where they can make a transaction. Example, net banking system, phone banking system, debit card, credit card, demand draft, check, etc. Examples, all the bank where you are holding an account right now, or the examples of the financial institution or bank where they are facilitating you a way of making a payment or provides a medium by which you can make a payment as well. Some of the multinational banks are State Bank of India, Citibank, Standard Chartered, etc. They are present in the different other countries as well, along with the country in India. So, what is their role in payments basically? The role in the payments is nothing but to act as a medium through which money can be sent and received. This is what the job of the financial institution in the payments. If a person wants to make a fund transfer, utilizes the tool which they have been provided. For example, net banking system, they provide the information of the beneficiary customer and then they will transfer. So when transferring, it again gets credited into the bank's account and the customer will get notified. Both the side, the bank is involved to send as well as to receive the money into the respective accounts. This is what the role of the financial institution in the payments. All the financial institutions or the banks of the respective country do fall under the central bank rules and regulations within their respective country. Depending upon the bank from one bank to another bank, they can provide various type of a payment features itself, payment transfers itself. For example, book transfer, that indeed is nothing but a transfer within the bank itself. I mean, the ordering customer who makes a payment and the beneficiary customer who receives the payment, both are in the same bank. So those kind of a transfer is called as a book transfer in this banking world. Similarly, ACH payments is there and RTGS payments. And if the bank has a subscription over the SWIFT network, then they can facilitate a cross-border payment as well. It is altogether basis on its onboarding and subscription, which they take it to the respective payment scheme. Let's know about the central bank itself. Who are central bank? So central bank generally are termed as the bank of the banks. The reason behind is all the local banks within the country, be it any country, they do fall under rules and regulations which are set by the respective central bank. For example, in India, the Reserve Bank of India is the central bank. Name might be different from one country to another, but the objective is same or the base is same. That is, they are the central bank and they have certain aspect or features which they have it. And they also have a authority to give licenses, revoke licenses, and also charge penalties for banks of the respective local country if they are not adhering to the rules and regulations. So time and again, they do the audits on the banks, right? And if they found suspicious in certain things and it is proven, then they will be either heavily penalized or worst case, if they wish to suspend, they have that kind of authority as well. Central banks are generally in any country are owned by the government of that particular respective country, and their privileges are established and protected by the law. Thereby, it is politically independent. They're also responsible to control over the production and distribution of money and credit for a nation. As I said, like they are also responsible for creating monetary policy, rules, and regulation for the banks within the country, how the banks should follow for all the to operate, right? What are the audit points they have to ensure that they have to follow. All of it is being said by the central bank itself, which time and again they do audit and then they keep on updating their rules and regulation policy as well. Let's know let's learn about some of the accounting terminologies which we are going to use in our Swift payments as well, right? In that, let's first of all start with the Nostro and Vostro account. You would have heard about this Nostro account plenty of time, even if you are not from the banking industry. You would have heard of it um, during this war, right? Russia and Ukraine war. You would have heard like Russia's Nostro's account was frozen in the US. So all their USD currencies available in USA was frozen, right? Somewhere $300 billion were there in the US banks of theirs, and they could not utilize because they were sanctioned and frozen. So what is a Nostro account basically? So to understand this Nostro account, I'll take an example here, right? State Bank of India is there in India, who indeed has several customers to it, and many of the customer comes to State Bank of India and says like, why don't you facilitate USD currency transfer? Some retail customer comes in and says like, I have to transfer it to my kids' uh, monthly expenses as well as fee payment, which I need to make it in USD currency. So please help to facilitate. Similarly, corporate customers of it at the State Bank of India says like, I want to do a trade and make a transfer in USD currency for my import and export. Why don't you facilitate that? So State Bank of India potentially sees a good profit or revenue out of these services if they are able to provide it. So what State Bank of India does it in order to provide the transaction facility in the USD currency transfer in United States, State Bank of India reaches out to a different varieties of bank or different banks in United States, right? Like for example, Citi US, Standard Chartered Bank US, Bank of America, Barclays US, plenty of 100 plus banks are there in United States as well, just like in India. So they reaches out and the bank provides its features, just the way we as a normal customer, if we wish to open an account in any of the bank, we generally go to the features side, like for example, zero balance account is there or not, how much charges they are taking for RTGS transaction, all those things, right? We see and then we decide like, well, let me open this account in this particular bank because the services are amazing, charges are less, etc. All those things. So State Bank of India also will go through all the perspective of each of the bank which they are providing, uh, whether they have reached out, which bank is providing better facility and what kind of services they are offering, client support, all those things they check it. And then finally, State Bank of India decided to open an account in Sirius Bank. Sirius Bank seems like they are providing all the good facility and better exchange rate, sorry, better charges and all those things. So State Bank of India wishes to open an account in Citi US Bank, which is in a foreign bank, which is in the United States. They opened up an account in USD currency and their information has been stored in this Citi US core banking system, like name of this particular account owner, State Bank of India, customer name, and all this. So this kind of account which they open in the respective banks in the foreign bank city US are the different category of the accounts. Basically, by the way, account categories are available into the banking side. The retail side will be a different account category, corporate side will be a different category, Um, Royal customers will have a different category of accounts, and likewise. So for this Nostro and Vostro accounts, there will be a different categories which a bank will be maintaining. So when they open up an account, State Bank of India, when they opened up this account, they would also sign a bilateral agreement. So when we open an account, we do sign a form application, right? Where we provide all the information related to whatever the bank is looking for. Similarly, State Bank of India side, their head side, product head side, will sign one bilateral agreement with the CTS Bank. Both signature would be there, wherein all the terms and conditions would be also mentioned. It will have a lot of information, as in when we progress ahead, we'll keep on discussing about a different bilateral agreement aspect, be it the charges related aspect, be it the kind of a messages which they can exchange, that aspect, the optional field which they can use it, that aspect, what kind of messages to use for cancellation, uh, what kind of messages to use for the rejection, all those things. As in when we progress, right? I'll keep on saying this sentence saying like, as per the bilateral agreement, they wish to proceed with this message and all. So there will be an agreement in place signed by both the parties, meaning State Bank of India and CTS Bank. Now, State Bank of India has opened up an account here in CTS Bank. What is their objective basically? Open up an account, ensure the fund is available in the account, use that particular balance available in the account to make all the credits which State Bank of India received an instruction to make a transfer, right? That's the whole objective. Now, the question which you might have it is, State Bank of India has opened up an account in CTS Bank in USD currency, that's fine. But how do they fund now? Just opening an account will not help. So State Bank of India has plenty of way to ensure the fundings are done. They can fund this particular USD currency account in CTS Bank either by purchasing the currency from some other third-party bank, and that the third-party bank will ensure that the fund is credited in USD currency in the State Bank of India. Or State Bank of India can directly go to this forex market where plenty of organizations are available who purchase different currency. Like for example, State Bank of India wish to sell INR currency and buy USD currency, that they can do. Similarly, State Bank of India, if they have other currency, they can sell that currency and then buy the CDS currency. Or State Bank of India can sell the securities bonds and buy this USD currency as well, right? So there are plenty of way to do it in the uh, funding of these accounts. One of the use cases for funding of the Nostro account, wherein they purchase the currency from other party bank, that also will cover later point of time. Okay. So treasury team in any bank are responsible of funding of this Nostro accounts all over the world, right? So the State Bank of India basically now the account open at the CTS Bank. This account number USD 123456789 for an example. If you see from the State Bank of India point of view, the account is called as a Nostro account. The definition of a Nostro account is, see from the State Bank of India, and I'll define this. When our bank, State Bank of India is our bank, when our bank maintains account in foreign bank, CTUS is a foreign bank, in foreign currency, the account currency is in USD currency. So this account is called as a Nostro account. This is what the definition of a Nostro account is. When our bank maintains account in foreign bank in foreign currency, the account is called as a Nostro account. It is a Latin word basically, which means ours, right? And the bank, when our bank maintains account in a foreign bank in foreign currency, is called as a Nostro account. So this definition is for a Nostro account in if you are seeing from a State Bank of India point of view. If you are an employee, someone from State Bank of India will say like, our Nostro bank is held at a Sirius bank. Now, if you are a CTUS bank employee or CTUS member side, from the CTUS point of view, the same account, which is a Nostro account of the State Bank of India, CTUS will call this account as a Vostro account, right? So what is the definition of the Vostro account then? Vostro account is nothing but when the foreign bank, now from CTUS bank point of view, If you see this, State Bank of India is definitely a foreign bank. The definition for this Vostro account is when foreign bank maintains account in our bank in our currency, that is in USD currency, then the account is called as a Vostro account. That is the definition and the differences between the Nostro and Vostro. So it is a perspective from the banks which you see the account whether it is to be called as a Nostro account or a Vostro account, right? The same account for one bank, as in the account owner bank, would be called as a Nostro account. We'll call it as Nostro account. The account servicer bank will call it as Vostro account in that two-party agreement. Make sense? Any questions? Let me know. All right. So in a Nostro account, now as I said, like that Nostro account has been opened, they have funded the account with whatever the medium they have chosen to. Now, the same account which they had opened up in USD currency, right? They can utilize to make outward transactions and the inward transaction also they can receive if they have a bilateral agreement in place. See, Swift, what it provides is only a medium by which you can send and receive the messages securely and safely and reliably. Other than that, Swift does nothing. It's just that its job is to just do a postman job where some information, some instruction from one party is been safely delivered to another party. But the funds, the amount movement happens only via account. In account only the all the funds are there. And in this case, State Bank of India's Nostro account with the fund is available at the CTS Bank, right? So whatever the State Bank of India customer initiates a transaction, for example, Ram initiated a fund transfer transaction to make a transfer to Sam who holds an account in United States in CTS Bank. So $1,000 they want to make. So State Bank of India, after receiving the instruction, what they will do? They will do some payment validation, which we will discuss in upcoming session, and they will send an instruction, a message they will send it via Swift network, say which says that, hey, CDS Bank, I'm sending you this message instruction, wherein please help to make a transfer of $1,000 to Sam's account. And in order to make the transfer, I already hold an account at your bank. This is my account number. You debit this account for the respective amount of 1,000 and then credit to the Sam's account. So CTS will do it because they need instruction, secure instruction they need that comes from Swift and fund in order to debit and credit to the Sam's account. So they will do it since they already have maintained a fund. For this, if they are providing these services, definitely CTS will make profit as well. So those things, charges and all these things, we'll discuss later point of time as well. If any of the customer in the United States who is a customer of Citibank, City US Bank, if they wish to make a fund transfer in USD currency in India, then what they will do? If they have an agreement, State Bank of India and the City US Bank says like, for my inward payment also, if you wish to send, then you can credit the fund from your account bank side. So CTS Bank, in this case, like let's say PLC is a company who wishes to transfer $5,000 to LTD Exchange House. Now, LTD Exchange House is a big shot corporate company in India, for an example, who holds an account in a multi currencies. One currency in INR, another in USD. The banks in India itself can provide account opening to the corporate customers in a multi currencies, not only in INR but also in USD, GBP, Japanese yen. They have this provision. They can open up an account. In this case, this LTD corporate exchange house corporate customer holds an account of multi-currency and LTD wish to receive a fund in USD account currency itself. So PLC basically initiates a fund transfer request of $5,000 to credit to transfer to the LTD company. CDS Bank, then what they do internally, they credit the account in this particular Nostro account of the State Bank of India and then sends out a message instruction to State Bank of India saying like, hey, State Bank of India, I have credited your Nostro account for me a Vostro account. In that, I have credited $5,000, and then I am sending out a message instruction which contains all the information of the beneficiary customer. Please help to credit to the LTD corporate customer. After receiving this fund in notification, and the State Bank of India then credits to the LTD corporate customer. So this is the entries which it gets captured in this particular Nostro account. They would have funded, so there will be a funding credit entry. Let's say early in the morning, they funded from the treasury side $10,000. $1,000 basically was debited from this Nostro account because one instruction came from the State Bank of India for which the $1,000 was debited and credited to Sam's account. Similarly, the $5,000 was credited on this account. So that's why $5,000 if you see the credit side. So total, if you see the now clearing, if you see on this particular on the final position on this account is $14,000 long positions. Long position means it is in a positive position, right? So same Nostro account, same account can be used for both inward and outward payment itself if it is of the same currency. So that is something about Nostro account features where they can send and receive in the same moment. This example or another type of account which you can get to learn or which we will be using it in our upcoming sessions as well is about the Loro account. Let's learn about what exactly Loro account means. It is again a terminology which is used, especially when there is a intermediary or the correspondent bank involved. Now, what happens in this is, let's take an example. Standard Chartered Bank Great Britain is there, right? Now, the Standard Chartered Bank Great Britain
I
wants,
have a query.
yeah,
So there can be multiple Nostro accounts for the same bank, right? For different currencies.
yes, yes, that's correct. So, if State Bank of India wishes to open and CDS Bank is providing multiple other currencies account opening for the State Bank of India, then they can do it as well. So State Bank of India can obviously for USD currency transfer they will be opening an account for you in USD currency. But if CDS says like for your GBP currency also you send it to me, I'll help you credit. So that also they can do that. Okay, they can facilitate that as well.
Okay.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah. That was yeah. It is
Kumar,
one
I
Nostro account per currency, right?
Mm-hmm.
One Nostro account per currency.
Ah, that's correct. No, they can still open an account of a USD currency, multiple one as well. Some of the banks, I'll just explain it. Just give me a second. So first of all, the State Bank of India, if they are very big shot bank, nowadays they can open up an account not only in one bank in the United States, they can open up an account in a multiple other banks as well, just for a backup purpose, or they maintain good relation with the different other banks, so they want to give some transactions 30% to one 30% is to one bank, another 40% and another 30%. So maintain equal relationship. Big shot bank. Otherwise, medium and if they wish to open account, generally they will have at least one Nostro account in each of the country for their local transfers. Some of the banks, as I said, even though it is in the United States, City US Bank can offer you as the State Bank of India, for the State Bank of India, they can offer like I can help you open a GBP currency account and all your GBP currency transfer, you send it to me and I'll help you to get credited in the Great Britain, right? All those things can also be provided. So for that, they are making a profit out of it, acting as an intermediary bank for them, right? So that is also possible. This example, City State Bank of India can open up an multi-currencies account and the Sirius Bank. That is also possible. The corporate customer can also open up an account at State Bank of India. Like let's take an example. Reliance opens up an account in State Bank of India since it is doing trade, imports and export around the globe in different countries. So they would have opened a multiple account currency, for example, the INR account currency, USD currency account, JP, Canadian dollar, Euro, all of this account is open. And if they wish to transfer the fund, then they can use either of the account so that they do not have to apply the FX rates. Otherwise, if they wish to make a fund transfer in USD and the account used is INR, then INR to USD FX rate will be applied. Reliance will have to bear the losses because of the currency fluctuation that keeps on happening, right? And also the bank will make profit out of each unit on the exchange rate. So those things is there. So for that, this Big corporate customer will open up an account. Okay.
Kumar, I have a question. When we do
Mhm.
this Nostro payment, how it will be affected in the balance sheet of State Bank of India? How it will be, how we are showing in the balance sheet?
So State Bank of India, yeah, that will discuss in a nostrum mirror accounting aspect as well. So that I'll discuss it, how this accounting
Okay.
entries is done at the State Bank of India side, right? All of those we'll discuss.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So another accounting terminologies which I'll be not frequently using, but good to understand is about a Loro account. This comes in picture when there is a, what do you call it as, there isn't any a relationship directly with the respective beneficiary bank. Let's take an example. Standard Chartered Bank Great Britain is there in Great Britain. Hypothetical thing giving you, wherein they do not have any relationship for USD currency transfers in any of the bank in United States. Now, Standard Chartered Bank Great Britain reaches out to State Bank of India. Now, seems like Standard Chartered Bank Great Britain already has a INR account relationship with the State Bank of India. Now, Standard Chartered Bank Great Britain wishes to have a USD transfers as well. So they says like, hey, State Bank of India, why don't you open up an account in USD currency for us and help us facilitate all the USD currency transfers. For this, I'll give you a profit of this much amount for each transaction level. State Bank of India says like, okay, sure, why not? Let me open up an USD currency account for you, and you send me an instruction. I'll act as a correspondent bank for you, and I'll or an intermediary bank for you, and I'll help you ensure that transfer in USD currency transactions. So Standard Chartered Bank of Great Britain, if they wish to transfer to Sirius Bank, then they will reach out to State Bank of India, meaning they will send out a communication message via Swift saying like, hey, State Bank of India, I wish to transfer this much of amount to CTUS Bank customer, and this is the customer details, the customer account number. Please you have to transfer. And State Bank of India further will create another message via Swift, which we call it as MT103, and then they will send out to Sirius Bank, and then they will credit to the beneficiary customer. So if you see Standard Chartered Bank Great Britain has utilized the account of the State Bank of India, right? The Nostro account of State Bank India is utilized by the Standard Chartered Bank Great Britain indirectly. So if you see this account from Standard Chartered Bank Great Britain point of view, Standard Chartered Bank will say like this is a Loro account. And the Loro has a definition. Loro means it is their account with them. So it is their account with them, and they are basically in this case is a position where they can say this it's a Loro account. It is a Nostro or Vostro account of some other bank. Now to summarize this, the account which State Bank of India had opened up in USD currency in City US Bank. See, from the different bank perspective, we can define it in a different way. From a State Bank of India, where the State Bank of India itself is the account owner, then they will call the account as a Nostro account. The account owner bank will call the account which is held in the City US Bank. It's called that account they will call it as Nostro account. Now, City US Bank in this case is the account servicing bank where they have servicing, they're servicing the account, right? They have opened up, they're allowed to open up in their bank. So since that they are account servicing bank, the account servicing bank, they will see the account which they have opened for the State Bank of India as a Vostro account. They will call that account as a Vostro account, the same account. In our example, where Standard Chartered Bank Great Britain was involved, they will call that account as a Loro account. Okay, so it's just a perspective from the bank you will see, and then you will call it as either Nostro account, Vostro account, or the Loro account. More than Loro account, you'll be using this Nostro and Vostro terminology a lot while we are learning the different use cases and the flows of your Swift payments in upcoming sessions, right? All right. So there's a Nostro mirror account. Also, we need to understand what exactly is it and what do they do, all of it, right? So let's learn about it. Just give me a second. Okay, so let's learn about the Nostro mirror account. Already we know that the State Bank of India holds a Nostro account here, wherein they have the real fund. Actual money is in this account, right? Where the debit and credit happens. But State Bank of India they will maintain one internal account where they will post all the transaction entries internally as well. So a replica transaction entries they will be maintaining into the Nostro mirror account, or account which we call it as a Nostro mirror account. So why do we call it as a Nostro mirror account? So first of all, this particular account which they will maintain for this particular Nostro account at the State Bank of India will be similar to it, right? And it is just a dummy internal account, okay? There is no actual money in that. Actual money is always in this Nostro account, first of all. Why do they maintain it? The major objective of maintaining this Nostro mirror account, which will have the replica entries or the information of all the transaction information, which they are sending. All the outward transactions, for an example, State Bank of India is sending via instructions. If they wish to make a fund transfer of $1,000, in this case, there will be an entry of credit Nostro mirror account as $1,000. As this particular Nostro account will have a $1,000 debit. So it's simple math, right? If State Bank of India has sent out an instruction saying like, hey, Sirius Bank, please help to credit Sam's account by debiting my $1,000. So simply what they will do, Sirius Bank, they will debit $1,000. For the second transactions, it came a credit. So they will have credited it. Here you will see this. So exact this particular transaction amount, but in vice versa of a debit credit indicator will be available in the Nostro mirror account. So if in the original account, in the Nostro account, if it has maintained debit $1,000, here they will maintain a credit $1,000. And if in the original Sirius Bank's Nostro account, if it is a credit Nostro mirror with 5,000 for the internal incoming payment, here they will maintain a debit Nostro mirror account. So that's why it is called as a Nostro mirror account. And it's an internal account for the State Bank of India, which they are internally maintaining. This Nostro mirror account has nothing to do with Sirius Bank. At least what they don't even know that they are maintaining Nostro mirror account. They would know that, but they don't even have to deal with it. So State Bank of India, they maintain internally this account for a reason. I'll tell you why. So generally, as being a normal customer, we do not have a habit, or maybe some people have this habit where they maintain expense tracker. Like for an example, whatever they are spending it or making a transaction via that account, which you have it at the bank side, you will maintain. Some people have that this much of amount got credited on the first day of the month, second day I made a EMI payment, debit this much and credit this much. And end of the month, basically the State Bank of the bank, wherever you hold an account, if you open up your email, it will have a lot of statements which a bank automatically triggers into your email, which contains statement report for that entire month. For an example, August month towards the end, your bank would have definitely triggered one statement account report, right? If you have opened up earlier, well and good. If not, that just try to open up and that open up this statement. It will have certain information. So what will be that information? I'll tell you. It will have the information in the August month starting 1st of August. What was your balance available? It will have the information of all the transactions that happened in the entire August month, starting from your salary got credited, debited, all this information would be available. So if it is a readable format for you, it will have this transaction reference number would be there, the description about it. When you are making a transfer to a training fee to me, and you mention sometimes like a Swift training fee, that written description it gets updated into my account statement narrations, and I'll get to know as well. So this is some information which you're passing it to me, right? So that gets updated in the description as well. And then there will be a debit or credit column where you will get to see whether the transaction was debited from the account or got credited into the account, right? All this information will be available. And also it will have this end of the month closing balance available, right? Start of the month balance would be there and the closing month balance would be there as well. By end of the month, how much of the balance left over is also available. So that kind of information is available. Those who have a good practices, all the transactions which is maintained in the statements, they will reconcile with the diary which they are maintaining where they are having this all the transaction entries. So matching up of the transaction entries of your account where you have spent, maintained a record with that of statement report is basically a reconciliation. This process is called as a reconciliation. Tallying process or matching up process is called as a reconciliation basically. So, so this you will do in a general for a retail customer or a big set corporate customer. They don't rely on this manual way of doing it. They instead have this some applications maintained for themselves because they do huge number of transactions and it's difficult to maintain the record manual way. So what they do is they will maintain some kind of application. Similarly, banks also maintain one application where they will consume the statement reports and they will match up with the Nostrum Mirror internal account posting, which they have done it. If they are matching it up, then the reconciliation is complete. Otherwise, if there is a dispute, for example, uh, the end of the day balance they say is lesser than what they're expecting, then they can have a dispute. There is a respective support team who can indeed reach out to the respective CDS bank and they can sort out saying like this transaction was not there because we saw in our internal uh, Nostrum Mirror posting. This transaction is not at all there, but you have added it. So additional amount has been deducted. Please have a look into it. And they can go ahead and check. Doesn't happen that way. Reconciliation will be always correct only. But if there is an issue that a technical issue which did not get updated, then they will reach out as well. So Nostrum Mirror account is useful in that case as well. It has also other significances where it captures the information on the amounts related aspect, right? So that they can get to see it as well. So this is about Nostrum Mirror account. To summarize, it is an internal account for the respective bank, which are replica or the mirror of the actual Nostrum account maintained in the other bank in the foreign currency, foreign bank. Okay. Mm, let's learn about another account terminology again, right? This account is called as a master or the settlement account. So what does this master or settlement account mean, right? All the local bank, for an example, in United States, whatever the bank they have within the country, they would have opened up an account at the central bank. So their central bank in United States is called as Federal Reserve. So CTOs would have opened an account at the central bank, that is Federal Reserve in USD currency. Um, Similarly for all the other bank as well. Now, why do they open up an account at a central bank, right? The local banks opening up an account at the central bank. The reason is the local payment systems where they will get onboarded, in order to use them, they would need this account being open at the central bank. Significance and how they use it, all those things we'll discuss in our ACH and RTGS payments topic. But they do open up an account at the central bank in order to make a transfer within the country, right? In order to participate in the different payment schemes which they are providing it. So master account or the settlement account, the same account, basically, it is a account of a local bank at the central bank. So Sirius Bank will say, like, I have a settlement account held at the central bank for Fedwire payment system, for chips or whatever, I don't know, chips payment system. They have different payment system available. They can open up multiple account at the central bank again, depending upon the central bank rules, saying that for this payment system, you have to open separate account, and for this payment system, you have to open up a different account. We'll discuss about that as well in our um, clearing mechanism, which we are going to learn it now, right? So that was about some of the account terminologies. I just wanted to make it familiar for you so that when we use these terms in our Swift payments, right, end-to-end flows, because I'll be using more frequently in the transaction entries that happens as State Bank of India and the Sirius Bank, the Nostro account, Nostro Mirror account, profit and loss account. Profit and loss account is also there, where basically bank maintains internal account, basically, where they will maintain all the profits which they are making or the loss they are making, right? So that's why it is called as a profit and loss account. It's an internal account to State Bank of India or any of the bank, where they maintain for each of the product to capture all the information related to the profit which they are making it. Okay, now let's learn little more on this basic side, where we'll learn about the key elements in the payment settlement system. So when you initiate a payment, basically, and all you know is that it to get transferred to the beneficiary customer, but in between, there are multiple elements that is playing important role. So once you initiate a payment, first thing is a message is triggered or is being created by the respective bank and is sent to the respective clearing house. In this case, for an example, for a local payment system, it will go to clearing house, and then from the clearing house, it then finally sends out this positions, and the final leg is the moment settlement. One moment happens. So messaging, clearing, and the settlement, these are the three key elements of a payment. So let's learn about the message first. Generally also, message is nothing but communicating or expressing something, right? Wherein you're passing on some information. In a payments also, this is nothing but a general way of communicating that says payment of some amount has to be made, right? That is what it has to do. Now, in the financial industries, there are plenty of varieties of way of messaging they are doing it. Some of them are paper-based messages, some of them are electronic-based messages, right? But they are all messages which transfers or which sends a communication saying that some amount has to be made to one party or another party. Take an example of this check leaflet, one of the oldest way of message communication from one bank to another bank, wherein they write, for an example, in this case, if you see, there are certain fields where they have captured the information, manually they have written it. This person whose name is Deepak Das has written a check on the name of Tech Lane, a company, and the amount which they have written is 5,000. This check leaflet has multiple datas in this information available. It has this value date from which the date from the date when this check is basically eligible to be uh, introduced or placed at this bank, and then they can respect get transferred. Value date is there. The pay section is there, basically the name of that beneficiary that they would like to make a transfer. The rupees in words is there, and the amount in digits are there. By default, the account number are pre-populated, that will be there, and signature you have to do it manually, and there will be check number would be there. So all these fields basically is available. Now it is a standard already been defined. It is not like for State Bank of India, these fields will be there, and for ICICI, different field would be there. It won't be the case, right? It should be the consistent across the country because they are using a check leaflet. Color design would be different. That I totally agree. For State Bank of India, it will be bluish color. ICICI will be a different color. But the fields in the check leaflet would be same. So template remains same is what I'm trying to say for all the banks. Design would be different. That's okay. All the check leaflet of ICICI also will have a similar fields. Signature field will be there, account number will be there, this value date will be there, amount section, everything will be the same. So it is a standard already been defined. In India, for a check leaflet, the respective check processing system in India has this standard already been defined. This is how you should be providing check leaflet to your customer. Now, what Tech Lane as a company will do it after that? This check leaflet, what they have received, will then they will go to the respective bank where they hold an account. For example, they hold an account ICICI Bank. So Tech Lane will go to ICICI Bank and they will fill some form if they wish to do it. Nowadays, check deposit machine is there, wherein go directly place this check to this check deposit machine, and you provide your account number where you need to transfer it, and then the check deposit machine will automatically give you a slip which contains all the information and the scanning of this particular check also. So this is how nowadays check deposit machine is working as well. And within 1 or 2 days, generally check in India, I guess 1 or 2 days they take it to process. So check leaflet will be scanned, basically all the data will be extracted and then will be sent out to the check processing system, and then you will get your credit in 2 days. So this now the whole thing which I'm trying to say is check leaflet is acting as a message standard, and it has been there not only now, it is there quite a bit of time, more than 100 years. These checks are there in this particular industry. Even before this electronic messages came, like Swift, ISO 2022, whatever electronic messages are there, before that this check was there. Check was one of the oldest way of communicating between the financial industry, right? So what does this message standard mean in the messaging? Message standards means a predefined format that ensures when such messages are exchanged between the parties, they shall decode what the sender party is trying to say. Now this is a template. Whatever the data has been captured, now they will understand. In a page section, it will be always a party information to which they want to transfer the money. In a rupees section, there will be a words, amount in words. And in this particular field section, when they are scanning it, then they will get to know that this is the digit amount digit. It will be in a digit, it won't be in a word. This place will have a signature, this particular field will have this account number, this bottom section is default check number, and the value date is available. And they will be able to decode all this information data, each of the party at the bank side, and they will send out for processing as well. So this is what the message standard means. Now messages are categorized into different ways depending upon various factors. For example, the first one is basis on the value and non-value messages, and then we have paper and electronic based messages. We have global and regional standard messages as well. Let's go one by one and learn a little bit about it as well. So what does this value based messages mean? The value-based messages name itself suggests it has certain value to it. So basically, the messages which involves the movement of funds, bonds, securities, or any other financial obligation, those kind of a messages are called as a value messages. Whereas the non-value messages, it does not bring in movement of any funds, securities, bonds, or any financial other applications. But they are yet meaningful in terms of various aspects like advices, uh, notifications, etc. Example for the value messages, if you see that is a non-electronic examples, if you see the cash deposit at a branch by filling the cash deposit form, then you would have experienced this, right? You would have gone to the bank, you would have written up all the information where you want to make a transfer in a physical form, which they will provide it at the bank side, and then you will be in a queue and you will give it to the branch teller, you'll give the money, and then you'll give that particular slip which you have filled in form, right? So that is called as a, the terminology which they use it is paper drop, right? That's nothing but the cash deposit form and a branch. And similarly, a check is one of the way, which is a non-electronic way of messaging, and demand draft is another non-electronic way of messaging. In electronic example is all the MTs and MX messages which you can get to see where the financial movement of the funds happens like MT202, PAX 9, etc., which we'll learn in upcoming sessions. Similarly, non-value messages, after you deposit the um cash deposit form and they give the cash, there will be a slip given by the lady or the gent who is processing your payment. And then the deposit slip is basically a non-value messages. Check and demand draft slip which you receive after depositing, that is also a non-value messages. MT 900, 910 and the ISO 2022 messages related to non-value messages are the electronic messages, example of the non-value message that we'll discuss later point of time. Similarly, you can categorize basis on the paper and electronic based messages. Name itself suggests that it will be a paper based message and electronic will be somewhere electronically generated messages. Examples is check demand draft for the paper messages, and all your Swift and ISO 2022 messages are the electronic based messages. There are global standard messages which are understood globally across the different country and the banks, and there are regional standard messages which do not follow any international standards and is only understandable to a limited region or country. For example, if you see for the regional standard, you have this Fedwire system earlier. Now only they migrated to ISO 2022 some 2 months back. But prior to that, they were using a proprietary message format, which is understood only within the United States within the Fedwire payment scheme. All the banks who are participating to it. Similarly, UK back standard 18, which is called as a again a flat file based message which is only understandable within the respective clearing scheme of this UK. Other countries, other banks will not understand it. A globally understandable messages, if you see there is a EDIFACT, is ISO 8583. ISO 8583 is widely used in the card payments. Visa, MasterCard, they use this ISO 8583 messages. Similarly, in cross-border retail and corporate payments, if you see ISO 15022 is there, which is nothing but your Swift empty payments, which we'll learn it as part of this training. And then ISO 2022, which we'll learn later point of time as well. These are the globally understandable messages, and it is a global standard messages. To give you a look and feel, I have just extracted this from the internet to give you understanding an idea how does that messages look like. This is a EDIFACT message snippet. This is ISO 8583 message sample example. See, now looking into this sample message example, until unless you would have worked or you do not have certain document where you can get to know like what exactly this particular entire line means, you won't be understanding it. So there will be a message standard handbook or guideline document would be available whoever is facilitating this kind of a messages. If Swift is providing Swift empty messages or MX messages, they will have a message standard handbook available or a guideline document will be available wherein each of the bank would have developed their development logic and built-in thing. By looking into it, how would you know like which one is a credit card number, how what is the amount field, all those things, right? So in their ISO 8583 MISA standard, they would have defined basis on the positioning of these numbers, like first four characters will help you define it as a debit transaction or credit transaction, followed by next 16 characters is your card number and all. So they would have defined in their MISA standard handbook. Similarly, this is a proprietary-based message format, which is not understood globally across the bank and the countries, is understandable only to the limited uh, region. Like for example, in the United States, only the federal participant bank would be understanding this particular message. Fedwire is basically payment system, just the way in India we have RTGS, right? Similarly, in US, they call it as Fedwire. The real-time gross settlement of United States is Fedwire. This is one sample snippet example was extracted from the internet. This is NASA sample messages, their local payment systems, which is a flat file based message. UK back standard rating
Oh,
basis again.
sorry. Where is this nacha used?
NASA is of US, is it? Let me check. UK or US? NASA is of US. Sense.
Okay,
Yeah.
is it like NEFT or what? Nacha?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. This payment system, but there is this payment system. You can just Google it out.
Okay.
Their local payment, some countries payment system. Either an EFT payment system or the RTGS payment system will be there. So in that case, it will be an EFT payment system because RTGS is a Fedwire for their country. Okay. Similarly, your ISO standard messages are also available, right? So that is also something which we'll learn as part of this training. So that was about messaging part. Now that the message communication has been sent out, saying like this is the party information, this much of amount you have to pay. Next thing is that comes is about the clearing. Now, what does this clearing means first of all, right? So let's take an example here, a very layman example. I'll take it and then post that I'll apply it in our banking industry as well. Okay. So in a clearing, they need to define the positions of each of the party. Okay. Let's suppose there is a person named Ram and there is another person named Sam. Ram had lended, let's say, rupees 1,000 to Sam, and after some time, Sam has paid back 500 rupees. Now, from a Ram point of view, if you see their position, or you call it as clearing position, then what is the calculation basically? Calculation is plus rupees 1,000 minus rupees 500. So that is equal to plus rupees 500. This plus sign means they owe 500 or Sam has to pay back 500 to Ram, right? Ram is expecting credit. So basically, they are in a credit position. In this clearing language, they call it as a long position also. Whenever their clearing sum is equal to something which comes in a positive, then they are called it in a long position or a credit position. Is this what term is used? Now, see from the Sam's point of view, first of all, they had taken 1,000, so minus rupees 1,000. they have paid back 500, so that will be plus 500, and that will be equal to minus 500. So this negative position is called as a short position in the clearing language, and also called it as a debit position, right? So basically, Ram, he himself did the calculation. How much is the clearing position for me? They want to use this fancy word like clearing position, all those things. Ram will say like, okay, 1,000 rupees I had given it, 500 I had received it, so I still need to receive 500 from Mr. Sam. So calculating this part itself is getting called as a clearing. Clearing is nothing but a reconciling and netting system before the actual settlement of money or financial obligation can be done. Right? That is what the definition of clearing is. It is used when we want to make from one bank to another bank. Clearing. Now there is a plenty of ways where banks are doing clearing. One is a bilateral way of clearing, which is popular in the cross-border payments. A multilateral clearing that will see like, wow, what are this uh, complexity of a multilateral clearing in the local payment system, and then clearing done with using clearing houses, right? So all these three we'll learn one by one. The example which we had taken, wherein State Bank of India had opened up an account in Citius Bank, they had used this particular nostro account for their debit transactions and the credit transactions. So basically, by end of the day, State Bank of India and City US Bank, in order to do the reconciliation, meaning end of the day, what the City US Bank will be doing is they will generate one statement report. Every end of the day, they will generate one statement report which will contain the similar information which we just discussed. It will have this opening balance, it will have the closing balance, and it will have this transaction entries throughout the day, whatever they have done it. So City US Bank will send out this 9940 message wherein their position would be also provided. And they are doing this bilaterally. There is no clearing houses involved in this, right? There is no RTGS, there is no NEFT kind of a payment system available here in between. They themselves decided to do their clearing. City US Bank, by end of the day, they are generating the statement report, the clearing position they have provided, saying that, hey, State Bank of India, your nostro account for today's date, the clearing position is plus 4,000, meaning you are in a long positions. You have extra, I mean, you have a positive position amount in this account. So they themselves have done this clearing. It's a bilateral clearing. State Bank of India have bilaterally agreed in a bilateral agreement signed saying that let's do the clearing by ourselves. So this kind of a arrangement is called as a bilateral clearing. Now imagine if this bilateral agreement kind of a thing is there and the Nostro account is to be opened, this kind of a similar account concept is there in India itself. Imagine this 200 plus banks is there in India, and each one of the bank, like let's take an example, the SDVC have to reach out to each of the bank to bank B, let's say ICICI, SDFC, some other bank, etc. So all the banks they have to reach out and they have to open up an account to each other, and then they have to agree an agreement saying like how the transfers will be done and all the things. So this becomes quite complex. So that's the reason you have this clearing houses in the each country, not only in India. India indeed, in fact, is one of the country which is way ahead of a lot of countries in terms of the facilitation of different kind of payments. We have different payment rails for different payment requirement as well. Like NEFT is there, high value payment system, RTGS is there, immediate payment system is there, and the backbone using that IMPS system, they use UPI payment system is there. Going forward, CBDC will come and many more things, right? So Multilateral clearing, if it has been done without the clearing house within the country, there will be a lot more complexity. Every new bank, whenever they are trying to open, they have to reach out to multiple banks throughout the country and they have to maintain the relationship. And that's why this clearing house will resolve all this. Clearing house is what you need to do. It's just onboard yourself to the clearing house. Rest of the things clearing house will take care. So there is a definition for the clearing house as well. Clearing house is nothing but is an organization or a system authorized by the central bank where the financial institution or the banks agrees to exchange the payment securities or any other financial obligations. So, for example, within the Reserve Bank of India, they have this entity, different entities. For example, RTGS is there. We have NEFT is there. Similarly, NPCI is there. NPCI has developed this UPI, so which they have used this IMPS as a framework, right? So different payment need for a different customer, they chose different kind of a payment in India. So if you just open up your net banking system, you will get to see when you open up a net banking system in a payment site, you will get to see which kind of payment you would, which payment schemes you want to select. With the NEFT payment system, then you will check box. IMPS, you'll check. RTGS, you'll check. Or if it is a within the bank transfer, then that you can check. And if you wish to make a fund transfer outside the country in different currency, then you can have this option for cross border. If your bank is providing this facility, then all you need to do is you need to just provide the details of the beneficiary customer, account number, SWIFT code, address, etc. Right? And the amount you will be transferring. Now that the clearing has been done, wherein they have decided what amount has to be paid to the other party, knowing the fact that you know how much you need to transfer or how much you owe from the other party, the final thing is the settlement. Settlement is where the discharge of the obligations with respect to funds or securities is done. It involves movement of the funds, consists of the paying of the debts. There are two types of this settlement. Okay, there is one net settlement systems, and there is a gross settlement systems. The net settlement systems work in a different way than that of a gross settlement systems. We'll learn both of it. Okay, net settlement system in any of the countries basically work on a batch payment processing concept. It does not do a one-to-one transactions. It basically creates a file which contains all the list of the banks within agreed interval, and then they process one in a file basis. So huge some number of transactions are processed in one go, and it is like not immediate and not real time also. It takes a bit of time. Earlier days, way back in 10, 12, 15 years back, if you remember, in NEFT payment system, those who have used to do it, it in fact used to take 2 to 3 days of time. Nowadays, NEFT payment system has been advanced in India, and now every half an hour interval that batch runs, and that's why you will be able to see even if you have selected NEFT payment system, the payment would have created within half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, because they every half an hour they run one batch now, right? In India, we call it as a NEFT. In US, this terminology is used at ACH. So let me explain this NEFT payment system or ACH kind of payment system in any country, basically. How do they work, basically, right? The batch payment processing system, which I was telling it to you. So I've taken one example here. So US clearing system I have taken, ACH, and their Federal Reserve. It's a central bank. This together work together. Okay, I mean they basically work together in any of the payment systems because as I was telling it to you, all the local banks, be it City US Bank, Standard Bank, US Bank, or any of the local bank within the United States, they will hold one or held. They will be opening up an account at the central bank. here. So these are the accounts of the different banks within the country. At the central bank, let's say this record is there. Standard Chartered Bank here, Sirius Bank, all these things are there. So in this net settlement system arrangement, what is the agreement between the banks and the system? First thing first is all the local banks, if they wish to make a fund transfer via this ACS payment system, then the respective banks have to onboard themselves within this system. So there is a certain procedure, there is certain series of activities, checklists which they have to do it, agree, sign the agreement along with the central bank and the system which they are providing it, and then only they would be able to send out a communication to the clearinghouse to make a transfer within the country while using this rail. So this agreement or prerequisite is required before they send any transfer message to the bank. Now, what is the job of this central bank and clearinghouses together? As I was telling it to you, all the central bank accounts, the accounts are held at central bank, whereas the clearinghouse job is to do the other aspect, the calculation part. All of it is done by this clearinghouses. Exchange, sorting, everything is done by the clearinghouses in this case. This combination of the central bank and the clearinghouse is called as clearing and settlement mechanism. Okay, CSM is what they use, the terminology, short form. Not only for NEFT, but even for RTGS, central bank, and then the RTGS system together is called as a clearing and settlement mechanism. Now let's understand the flow in this particular net settlement system kind of a arrangements. Now in this example I have taken 4 banks. Okay, in a country it can be several banks. In this example I have taken 4 banks where bank A is there, where bank B is there, C is there, and D is there. Imagine from bank A side, there is one customer who, just giving you an example, the payment is initiated by this one LTD corporate customer, wherein they wish to make a transfer of 100 million to a customer who holds at bank D, SAM, right? 100 million, they want to transfer it. So they initiate a transaction. The bank A, what it does then? The bank A will then see whether the customer has chosen a ACS payment system, yes, and then they will create they will then add that particular information in the file, batch file, which will be a flat based file. TXT file will be there, notepad tech TXT file will be there. They'll keep on amending or keep on adding each of the transactions. So this batch, again, I was telling it to you, right? Totally depends upon country to country, what kind of a template they are using to capture the transaction information, right? So it is a comma separated. Some countries, batch processing system, a batch settlement system, or net settlement systems will have a comma separated where each of the data is separated by comma. Like for example, debit account number, credit account number, beneficiary bank BIC, beneficiary customer address, name, amount, exchange rate, etc. All this information would be there available by comma separated, and the template and positioning will also be defined as per the message standard. Anyways, so every time a customer is initiating within the batch interval time, they will keep on amending. Thousands or 5,000 of transactions will be placed, or depending upon within that half an hour interval, whatever the number of transactions they receive from the customer instruction, they will create a batch file and they will place it in a folder path. Which folder path? There's something called a secured file transfer protocol, when they will place the file, and it is like secured because this clearinghouse would have provided that folder path or receptacle folder path in the server where they place it, and every half an hour time which this is agreed between the banks, the clearinghouse will pick it up from the respective folder path, the files. And it doesn't only pick it from the bank A, but it also picks up from all the banks at the same time. Okay. So when they would have onboarded, all of this testing would have done, and that's the reason all the files has been then picked up by this clearinghouse. Now, the clearinghouse job is in this kind of a system is to sort out. Now from a bank A, there might be some transaction for the bank C, for the bank D, for the bank B. And likewise from C, it would be from all this. So they will sort out, first of all, They will sort out how many transactions from bank A is for C, likewise from bank B how many of it is for bank C, and for D from D how many are for bank C. They do the sorting. While they are doing the sorting, they will sending out also the all the list of transactions, including all the banks, to the bank C to settle down the transactions. Likewise, to D also they will send out all the communications or transaction information to D to settle down the beneficiary customers. Similarly to B. When they are sending out this communication message by placing again the folder path file to process the payment for their incoming transaction instructions, they will then calculate the positions also. Basis on this transactions which they have sent. For example, in this case, bank A's outward transaction request from bank A is 100 million, whereas inward transaction request which they received is only 30 million, and that was from the bank C. One of the customer, PLC company, wanted to make a fund transfer of 30 million to Ram, who holds an account in a bank A. So now if you see 100 million was outward request, inward they received is 30 million. So by looking into it, you can say like bank A is in a negative 70 million position, isn't it? Bank A is in negative 17 million positions because they received only 30 million plus 30 million, and outward request was there, so minus 100 million. So that is minus 70 million. Final position is minus 70 million. Similarly, from bank B's point of view, there was no outward request for that entry, batch interval. So they received only inward request. So they settle down to the beneficiary customer. So bank B owes, not bank, I mean, bank B need to be paid off by this clearing and settlement mechanism with 50 million. That's why they're in a plus 50 million. Similarly, bank C, there was no inward transaction. There was all outward transaction only 50 and 30. So it is minus 80 million in this case. Bank D, there was no outward request, but indeed it has inward request, inward settlement. So 100 million, then they are in a positive 100 million. Meaning bank D needs 100 million now because they settle down the beneficiary customer. Now, these positions will be sent out to each of the bank via some statement reports, and they would expect the respective funds who are in a negative positions to credit into their accounts, which is held at a central bank. Now, bank A is a minus 70 million. They would have agreed that within this particular interval of time, they have to credit into their account. Whose account? Bank A's account. Bank A, let's suppose it is Citius Bank, whose account number is, let's say, CDUS 33 USD 12345 at the central bank. The Citius Bank has to now credit that 70 million into their account. So once they credit their account, what they will do? Central bank, they will debit that 70 million, and then they will credit to the banks who are in a positive positions to settle down. So basically, this positions, right, for each of the bank, if you sum it up, it should be equal to 0. Then only this clearing is successful. Otherwise, if there is a discrepancy, then there is a issue in the calculation. Minus 70 plus 70 minus 80 million and plus 100 million equal to 0. So this is how this net settlement systems work around the world, whichever country is providing this. In India, we call it as NEFT, and in other countries, they might call it in a different way. So there are certain challenges and drawbacks of this net settlement system. It is little complex than that of your real-time gross settlement system. You need to create a batch file. You need to wait for some time. It is not near real time consuming. The risk is also on a higher side, right? What if after sending out this final position to bank A do not pay off 70 million? Then this clearing and settlement mechanism bearing all the risk, right? If does not pay off, see, bank D who owes 100 million, it will not wait for bank A to transfer to their account, right? Bank D is least bother if the bank A is paying off to central bank or not. All they need is the 100 million from the clearing and settlement mechanism, because that's what they agreed with. The bilateral agreement was that. So this clearing and settlement mechanism is bearing the risk. If they don't pay off in time, then the bank D We'll ask this central bank itself. I mean, this clearing and settlement mechanism itself, right? And not the bank A. So it is the risk-based system compared to that of RTGS. The other kind of a system, okay, before that, let me know if you have any question, guys, okay, for this net settlement system kind. No questions? All right, fine. The next payment system is basically a gross settlement system. This gross settlement system works in a different way altogether than that of your net settlement system. In the gross settlement system, the fund transfer occurs individually after each of the payment transaction is processed in the system, meaning it does not has to create a batch file unlike your net settlement system type, correct? And there is no netting of the amounts. Money moves every time the transaction is processed. Banks generally use this type of system to exchange the urgent transfer or the large amount of transfers. Real-time gross settlement system basically is kind of a gross settlement itself, right? Where the transfer happens individually and it does not have to create any batches for it. The name real-time gross settlement system is given for a reason because it is near real-time payments. Real-time means the fund transfer happens right away if the funds are available in debtor accounts. Gross settlement means the transactions settle one-to-one basis. In RTGS system, when the fund transfer is made between the two accounts, they are final and irrevocable. And how it functions is like this. I'll just explain it to you how is it different than that of your net settlement systems. In India, we call this as the RTGS system. In US, we call it as Fedwire. In every country, they have a different names, but working concept is same. It doesn't vary, okay? RTGS systems work in the same way in every country. So here in this case, again, they would have to get onboarded in this RTGS payment system kind of thing. If it is US, then it is a Fedwire system where they will get onboarded, each of the bank. They will have a bilateral agreement as well. And here in this case, LTD corporate customer, if you see, now each of the banks will have this central bank account at a central bank for this RTGS payment system kind of thing, okay? Here, the thing is that all the bank have to maintain a fund well in prior before they send out an instruction to this RTGS system. Otherwise, they will not acknowledge it, meaning they will not process the payment. Who will not process the payment? This clearing and settlement mechanism, the FedWire system for US or be it RTGS in India for India. So they need to ensure, all of the bank needs to ensure that the funds are well maintained in prior before they send an instruction to the clearing and settlement mechanism to process it. So the risk is by default eliminated in this case, isn't it? Unless you don't have a fund, this payment will not be processed. So they will maintain a fund. So let's suppose CTS Bank has maintained early start of the day, they have funded 50 million into their account, and Standard Chartered Bank US, they have funded 100 million before they started transferring the money. So one of the corporate customer of the CTS Bank wanted to make a fund transfer of 20 million to one of the customer in the United States of who holds an account at Standard Bank US named PLC company. So CTS Bank received an instruction using from this LTD corporate customer, and after that they create a message. Now the message template can be anything. It can be in empty message format, it can be in MX message format, it can be Fedwire message format. Message is a message communication, which is amount of some amount has to be paid to the other party, and a party information will be available in that. So that message communication goes here in the system. System will then check with the central bank whether the sufficient fund for the CTS bank is available or not. If they find available, then at the central bank they will debit this particular 20 million, and then they will send out a debit advice message saying like, hey CTS bank, I have debited 20 million from your settlement account for the payment request which you sent via this message, and then post that they will credit to the account of the Standard Chartered Bank US, and they will send out a credit confirmation message along with the message information wherein they have to make a transfer to PLC. Message information they receive and they credit to PLC company, and they have already received the credit confirmation, so they don't mind paying off the PLC company. So this is how it works. It's simple, plain simple concept here. Whereas in a net settlement system, there is a batch processing, half an hour time wait, you have to do it. And then if any of the bank does this default in paying off the amount and clearing a settlement bid, bears the risk. So all those complexities is there. So that's the difference between the uh, real time and the net settlement system. Just to quickly give you a brief on the differences, so that at times in the interview they might ask you also the differences. Net settlement system, the payments are settled in the batches, whereas the gross settlement system, the payments are settled one-to-one basis. In net settlement, it is a time-consuming clearing and settlement, whereas gross settlements are a near real-time clearing and settlement. Risk is higher in a net settlement system because of the fact that the settlement of the bank's account happens after the settlement to the customers. That's why. So clearing a settlement mechanism is bearing the risk. Whereas in a gross settlement, this risk is completely eliminated, because unless you don't have a fund, meaning you're as being a bank, if they don't have a fund in their account, the transaction itself will not be processed. In net settlement system, the minimum threshold generally will be very less. Generally, the basic unit, one single unit currency unit would be there in respective country. For example, in India, NEFT rupees 1 is the minimum threshold amount, and maximum they have not defined it. Gross settlement system, they have defined this minimum threshold amount, 2 lakhs and above only you can make a transfer. Real-time gross RTGS in India, right? In any country it is similar to that. They will have defined certain limit, that minimum this much of amount you have to make a fund transfer via this mechanism. In US, they call it as ACH. In India, call it as NEFT. Likewise, in other countries, they would have termed different way, but working concept remains the same. For gross settlement in India, we call it as RTGS. In US, they call it as Fedwire. In UAE, it is called as UAE They have different name for it as well, right? So that's about it. So why now the question you might have.
Will they send the same payment messages? Use the same payment messages for net settlement and gross settlement? Like Pax8 is being used for gross settlement. Will they use the same for net settlement also for batch processing?
Right now they are using a flat file based messages, but if they wish to migrate into ISO, yes, they would eventually, all the systems they would wish to migrate into ISO format. Then in that case, no more flat file based messages will be sent out.
Okay.
Right now, it is not.
Right now it
Mhm.
is it okay? It's not okay.
Mm.
So
Slowly and
like
gradually they will
what
migrate also.
messages is supported for net settlement?
Yeah, as I told you, right, it's a flat file based messages. They will define a template, comma separated or non-comma separated. It only depends upon country to country.
Okay. Okay. So this is defined by the ACH. This
Correct. The respective payment scheme.
uh,
Yeah, they will decide. They will have a template also defined for it. They will have a message standard handbook available to it, how to send the communications, right? So you have this just the way Swift has provided this guideline document for CVPI plus, right? Uh, Likewise, for the respective payment trails, they would have defined this payment schema documents, whether it is in this kind of a document, entire information would be available. How the message should look like, what does that mean, what is the length restrictions, what kind of data you can send. All of the information would be available. As in when we progress, right, we'll learn
yeah,
about this.
this
About
message is for the gross payments, right? Which you're showing.
it can, if they are using ISO format, yes. This I have
Okay.
taken. This is for your Swift and ISO.
Yeah. This is ISO 20022, right? Tax
That's
safety.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Now the reason behind why I was explaining about some local payment system in our cross-border payment training, even though it is not relevant for us, not much relevant, But some of the use cases going forward, you will get to see such certain payment like let's take it, State Bank of India is there, right? This customer Ram is there. Um, State Bank of now this customer Ram wants to make a payment to let's say one of the customer who holds an account in Standard Chartered Bank US. Let's say Standard Chartered Bank US. Customer name is Sam. But State Bank of India and Standard Chartered Bank US, they don't have any relationship, no relationship. Does that mean they won't be able to make a fund transfer? No. Reason behind is they have this relationship with the City US Bank already, right? One bank in United States, they already have this relationship where they already hold an nostro account here, right? Where the fund is available, they have a message communication related agreement also. So City US would have said that, hey, State Bank of India, you already have a nostro account with us. Why don't you send out all the instruction where you want to make a fund transfer within the United States, and I'll do your job. You know, I'll be your buddy to transfer. You know, they will send out some communication, which we call it as MT103 or PAX 08, which we will learn later point of time, which is sent via the SWIFT network, secure way of sending out the communication. City US Bank will do then the settlement. Now, since the City US Bank and Standard Bank US are in the same country, they will settle down the payment system via their local payment system, be it Fedwire or some other end system. So in this case, they will not use SWIFT. There is no SWIFT here. Why? City US is in the United States. Standard Bank US is also in the United States. Correct? So within the same country, you do not need to use SWIFT. There is payment system already available in your local country. So that's when this Fedwire payment system plays important, or the local payment system plays important. Now, what will happen in the Fedwire payment system? City US account will be debited, right? Settlement account will get debited, and the Standard Chartered Bank US account will get credited. And the payment will be then settled. Whatever $1,000 was there, whatever, so it will be debited from here and credited to this here, right? So that's why I wanted to cover this one so that you can understand what is happening in this kind of a payment system, payments in this kind of payment use case, right? This is one of the use case. City US Bank is a correspondent bank for whom? For State Bank of India. This kind of a use cases, we'll learn a lot of it in upcoming sessions. This we have not yet started our actual Swift training. This is something we have still to reach. I'm just making your base strong, your foundations on the payment side strong, so that you'll understand once we reach out to Swift payments, no, you will be able to grasp a lot of things. So in tomorrow's session, we'll learn some more on the basic sides. We'll learn about payment engine related capabilities, payment hub, payment processing engine, what it does, for outward payment, inward payment, what are the different internal banking application it interacts with, what are the steps and activities it performs for once a customer initiates the transactions, what are the series of activities the steps which a bank payment engine does it in order to process payment, what are the different applications like core banking system, FX system, compliance system, billing and pricing system, what exactly they do and what are the data they are getting it from them. All of it we'll discuss it in tomorrow's session. Okay, so that's it for the day, guys. Let me know if you have any questions.
Kumar,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. Just give us a few minutes back. You have shown City US is transferring funds to SCBL. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so here, as you said, no SWIFT is transferred
That's
because
correct.
both the banks are in the same country.
Mm-hmm.
But the how the communication happened from CTUS to SCBL communication. I'm just asking.
RTGS is facilitating that, or the respective Fedwire, whichever in this case, Fedwire. Fedwire is their local country, right? Fedwire is providing its
O-
messaging services.
Okay, okay.
Mm. The system itself is
Oh,
providing messaging services, cleaning services, and the settlement is done by the central bank side.
okay,
Mm.
yes.
So
I
in
have a
India,
question.
RTGS, yeah, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, my question is, I mean, all the banks they need to maintain different accounts for each payment system. Is it like NEFT? They need to maintain one for
Yeah, good question.
RTGS. They need to maintain one at the central bank.
This is a good question. Some countries, one account they will maintain and which will be used for the multiple settlement systems. Many of the countries, they have a different settlement accounts maintained for the different payment systems. Not mandatory to open, but some countries wish to have a different settlement accounts for different payment systems. Yeah, totally depends on the country. Okay. All
Okay,
right.
thanks.
All right, guys. Any other questions? Okay. If no questions, then fine, guys. Tomorrow, join back. We'll learn more on this basic side, and most probably we'll little bit touch base on the Swift if we get uh, time enough time to start with our Swift topics as well. Okay. Thank you, guys. I'll see you tomorrow then. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.